What's up, guys? It's Josh here, back with another Kansas City Chiefs related video, and today I'm going to be continuing looking at Chiefs draft prospects, some of my favorite NFL draft prospects that I think the Chiefs should consider. And today we're going to be walking it back to wide receiver and looking at LSU wide receiver Terrace Marshall Jr. So you guys know the drill by now. Before I talk anything about why Terrace Marshall is so good, let me just talk about why the Chiefs would need a wide receiver. So I beat this horse kind of to death, especially if you've seen some of my other videos. Like, I don't trust McCole Hardman in that X role. I don't trust him as a number 2 quite yet. Could he grow into that? Possibly, but it's really discouraging when you traded up for this guy and his class peers like DK Metcalf and AJ Brown and Terry McLaurin. They've all kind of passed him up. McCole Hardman clearly regressed in 2020. That's not really a debate. His production plateaued on increased targets, and sometimes I feel like I'm being a little too hard on McCole. Like, I'm not saying he sucks. Like, he's still a weapon for this team, make no mistake, and he's going to have his big plays. But it's just like, how much longer are your big plays occasionally going to be enough? When are you going to prove yourself as a reliable chain mover, a bona fide star that the Chiefs thought they drafted when they got you? And we can go on about how the Chiefs drafted him in preparation for losing Tyreek Hill and how that kind of messed things up, whatever. But the point is, the Chiefs drafted you, so now you got to step up. But another reason I think the Chiefs need a wide receiver, a lot of people talk about Byron Pringle and he should get a shot at number 2 or whatever. It's like, okay, like, I like Pringle. I'm comfortable with him on the field, but number 2 receiver for a team that's a Super Bowl contender, you're talking about a guy that has career 300 receiving yards. Really? I'm not too sure about that. That's asking a lot. And if Tyreek Hill is to go down, you're looking at your top 3 being McCole, Pringle, and Demarcus Robinson. Yeah, this team definitely needs a receiver. And also, the Chiefs went hard after receiver in this year's free agency. We saw they offered Juju Smith-Schuster a bunch of money. They went after Josh Reynolds. They checked in on a couple other guys. They showed that they want to add a receiver. Brett Veach talked about prior to this offseason how they want to add a receiver. They lost Sammy Watkins. And I know that, Sammy Watkins, the Chiefs essentially got to the Super Bowl without Sammy Watkins. But that doesn't mean they don't need a number 2 receiver, because imagine if they did have a healthy Sammy Watkins or any good wide receiver besides Tyreek Hill for that matter. Terrace Marshall is a guy that I would certainly be willing to take at the end of the first round at 31. I've talked about how I really want the Chiefs to go left tackle in round 1 just because it's the big need, and I think you just got to address it and get, a guy that that's good. But I have an open mind, and Terrace Marshall is on a short list of guys that I wouldn't complain if the Chiefs drafted him that they were at 31. I've looked at Zaven Collins as one of those guys, Terrace Marshall as well, who we're talking about today. I'm open to taking some of these guys, and Terrace Marshall is just that good that if he's there at 31, you really got to think about it. And then, the reason I talked about him today too is because I have watched some of his film, and I was going to make a video. But secondly, the Chiefs Twitter account released a video about players they might draft, and Terrace Marshall was included in the video. Now, I know the Chiefs Twitter account isn't out here leaking who the Chiefs have on their draft big board, but the guys that run the social media account are pretty plugged in, and they just do these fun little videos because they know the Chiefs need a receiver too, and I think that's worth something. So that's why today we're looking at Terrace Marshall Jr. So Terrace Marshall is a guy that I know a lot of Chiefs fans like too, but this guy would be an awesome player in this Kansas City offense for a lot of reasons. But before I talk about, a lot of the things that make Terrace Marshall so good, let's kind of look at his production at LSU. So last year in 2020, in just 7 games, he accumulated 48 receptions for 731 yards and 10 touchdowns, and averaged whopping 15.2 yards per reception. And yeah, you heard that right. 731 receiving yards in 7 receptions, in 7 games. If it was in 7 receptions, then this guy could be the greatest receiver of all time. But in 7 games, and that means that he averaged over 100 receiving yards per game. That's crazy production. Also, double-digit touchdowns. He was a touchdown machine at LSU, 23 over his entire career. Also 106 receptions and over 1,500 yards at LSU in just 3 seasons. It's crazy because he was playing in a stacked receiver room that just had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson a year ago on that national championship team. So this was really Marshall's year to break out, and he did it. I mean, he showed how good he really is. And, some of the things that make Marshall such a good receiver are, one, his route running. He's a very crisp route runner. He can run most routes you ask him to. And that's an area that, he's already going to have an advantage in coming into the NFL because, and that's a thing with LSU wide receivers, like Justin Jefferson, who had such a good rookie year for the Vikings. LSU has a thing with their receivers. They come out very disciplined in their route running, and he was really good at getting separation. That's why he was so good. Marshall's a little bit in the same boat. He's really good at getting separation. He's good at working in condensed areas to get open. And also what helps is his size. I mean, he's 6'3", 200 pounds. And, I want the Chiefs' next receiver to be someone that is bigger, is big and strong. And that's certainly Marshall. I mean, 6'3", 200 pounds. That's amazing size, especially for someone that you're probably going to be asking to be your ex-receiver. Like another prospect I like is Dyami Brown. But I think Marshall even has a couple inches and some pounds on him, so, that's ideal. And then Marshall's also very, very fast. He ran a 4.3, 840-yard dash at his pro day, so you're talking about a guy that's 6'3", 200 pounds, and runs a 4.3 40. Sign me up. I would love that in this offense. Marshall also has versatility. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. He can play almost anywhere. You can line him up in a lot of areas. That's something I really like about him. Really good release off the line of scrimmage. A couple things he could work on. One, he had some concentration drops at LSU this past season. Wasn't really an issue his past 2 seasons. I don't believe so, but he definitely had some issues with that in 2020. Got to clean that up. And then secondly, he had some moments where I didn't really like his effort on his blocking, very inconsistent. Like I said, Dyami Brown, another guy I watch. One of the reasons I really like him is he does the dirty work. He's a very willing blocker. And when I watch their tapes, Dyami Brown just impresses me more as a blocker. I think he's better in that area. But that doesn't mean Terrace Marshall isn't good. I think he can become a better blocker, but I think Brown is a little more advanced already in that area. But Terrace Marshall is certainly the better receiver. I think he has a tad bit more upside. And also, man, his catch radius and his body adjustment, his body control. Like, I know there was this catch he had in the Clemson national championship game in 2019. The way he was able to adjust his body and grab that ball, use his size and his length, man, I mean, I would love to see that on the Chiefs. Someone that's finally big enough to be that true red zone target at wide receiver. And, I still like Dyami Brown a lot. And I think him and Terrace Marshall are close, but I think Terrace Marshall is certainly better. I mean, that's why he's getting first-round hype. Dyami Brown's not really getting first-round hype. But Terrace Marshall, I would really like this pick at 31 if they still did it. Yeah, I kind of want a left tackle mostly, but Terrace Marshall would not be upset about it at all, and I know a lot of Chiefs fans like him. So, you guys, let me know. What do you think of Terrace Marshall? Would you like the pick? Would you take him in round 1 at 31? Let me know. But make sure you like, share, subscribe so other Chiefs fans can find this. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. That would be great. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. That's all I got for today, guys. Peace.